Representative Burchett.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Undersecretary. I appreciate you being here, brother. How do y'all plan to expand trade relations with South Asian nations beyond India?
So,
And I'm sorry if this question's been asked, but when
No,
you're the 435th most important member of Congress, sometimes, so every time I ask a question, I need you to answer it like that is the most incredible question I've had today.
it's a Congressman, it's the best question I've heard all day.
Bingo.
So I appreciate the question. It's Southeast Asia is actually one of the first parts of the world that I traveled to after being sworn in. I traveled to the ASEAN Summit, the APEC Summit, and so I went to Malaysia. Singapore is the first place I went to. Singapore is a signatory to Pax Silica. We're working to engage Southeast Asia on supply chain security. It really is a hub of manufacturing. Singapore is home to one of the world's largest sovereign wealth funds and 10% of the world's semiconductor fabrication capacity. And that's just Singapore. That's before you include the Philippines and Vietnam, which are also home to incredibly deep manufacturing capacity. So we believe that engaging Southeast Asia is incredibly important. We are having active conversations with several of those countries on specific project opportunities and infrastructure projects to actually expand that cooperation and accelerate the securing of our supply chains.
Let me expand on that. You expanding, can we combat China's Belt and Road Initiative by offering countries an economic alternative?
Absolutely. And let me tell you how. China aims at using state-owned enterprises to build projects that are primarily debt traps, and everyone knows that, entirely in-house. We are going to leverage our private sector in a bilateral, a plurilateral, and a multilateral way in order to actually deploy private capital in a way that is revenue generating and positive sum for the beneficiaries and for our companies. Countries, everyone knows these projects that China's rolling out are debt traps. They're incredibly unpopular. I haven't been to a single country that says that they want more China. And so it's incredibly encouraging. We believe that the American private sector and the power of American industry is our best foreign policy tool. And it is the reason why 11 countries in less than 4 months have lined up to sign up to Pax Silica, is because everyone wants to be a part of the AI revolution. And so we plan to wield that as a tool to advance our interests.
Do you think it'd be wise for us in our economic interest to be independent economically from China? I mean, is there, I just, and I'm a motorcycle guy, and I remember when Harley Davidson was actually in the motorcycle business, I guess I'll say, before a guy with a man bun was their CEO. I didn't ride never ridden a dadgum motorcycle in his life, but I'm not bitter. But I remembered how they went to China, and they started trying to sell motorcycles in China, and I mean, they just put the screws to them. There was no way you had to sell to the hierarchy, and you couldn't sell within this certain thing. And I mean, they did it just to say, hey, we're in China, is what it ended up being. But we just got totally ripped off, and these gutless politicians in this country, we bend over backwards. I'd say half of us would be walking around naked if we didn't have, if our clothing wasn't made in China. I mean, just look at every industry out there and how we're so dependent on them, and I worry about that. But also, I understand the world view that we're going to have some business with them. So, go ahead.
So China has not made a secret of their plans and intentions to decouple from us. So the question is, are we comfortable staying dependent on them while they actively try to decouple from us? And the answer is that the policy of our administration is to have supply chain resilience and de-risk our supply chains. That's why we hosted one of the largest ministerials in the State Department's history. 55 countries on February 4th came to because those countries share our concerns and they agree with us on the need for supply chain resilience. China rolled out export controls on their refined minerals that were entirely unacceptable. And we think everyone agrees, which is why they attended the ministerial. And ultimately, we are working with our partners in Taiwan, including TSMC and others, including Foxconn, in order to reshore semiconductor manufacturing in America. And Secretary Lutnick's work has culminated with a pledge of $250 billion of investment in order to reshore 40% of TSMC's production capacity in the US, which is really historic. So we want to secure the supply chain at all layers: minerals, semiconductor manufacturing, and all the rest.
Thank you. I've gone over by 45 seconds, and I gladly take that from Representative Lawler.